Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin. I hope you're all having a wonderfully fantastic Friday. Hi, everybody. We're back. After taking a little bit of a break there as I went on a little bit of a vacation, I hope everybody had a fun week. I hope everybody had a great Labor Day. Football's back. I'm really excited about that. Unfortunately, it was a little bit rainy where I was, so I didn't get to enjoy all the sun that I really wanted to. In spurts, but nevertheless, still a fun time, still awesome, still glad I kind of was able to do that, hit a reset button, and just kind of chill out, you know? I ate a lot of seafood, and I drank a lot of alcohol, so I'll just leave it at that, folks. But as always, I'm not joined by myself. I got my man, Scotty Kiefer, in the back, ladies and gentlemen. Scotty, man, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. NFL's here, baby. I love college football, but the NFL's here.
That's true, yes. College football has already arisen from week 1, and we'll be getting into that. But this week has already started for the NFL because, obviously, we just had Cowboys and Eagles, and we'll briefly kind of discuss that because – you know, look, I don't think I was expecting to be a 4-point game.
I also wasn't expecting it to go from 7 o'clock to 11:45.
Well, that's because of the lightning. That's because Philly apparently made Thor and or Zeus angry, and apparently lightning just decided to start striking near the stadium. So, what's the one thing we can take away from, I guess, the first game of the NFL? Keep your saliva to yourself. Keep your saliva to yourself.
Pause.
Pause. What? That's a good message, is it not? Is it not?
Pause.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
We're talking about football here.
We're talking about football here, folks, obviously. If you guys want to see us, we are live right now on YouTube and on Twitch. And if you guys want to obviously see us when we do go live, again, that is every Friday. And, again, Monday's still on the back burner. But every Friday we're coming to you live at our usual time is around like 1 o'clock. But we're going a little early because the boys, unfortunately, BK Dub, are not going today. But you can catch us every time at youtube.com/xbombsports and twitch.tv/xbombsports as well. Follow us on all the social media as well, too, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to keep up with our conversations, keep up with stuff that we're posting. We're starting to get way more engaging now with all the social media stuff. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, however you want to call it. And we're also on TikTok as well, all of them at XBombSports. We got to talk to our boy Frankie, though. Has Frankie been MIA? Is that just...
I don't know, man.
Okay, all right. Well, we got...
I mean, it was on the show on Wednesday. So.
Okay, so we got to figure out where Frankie's at because I'm missing like 2 shows of clips that I need to get from him. But I understand the boy's obviously very busy. He's trying to find a job, work in the industry. Always support these guys, ladies and gentlemen, for trying to work their butts off and get in there. But make sure to go check us out on the social media. And again, any questions or comments or things like that, we may answer questions here. We may not, depending on how the show flows out with time and everything.
Depends how much Andrew wants to ramble on Alabama.
Okay. Well, you know what? I got things to say. And you got things to say, too. Do I not let you talk?
Yo, Florida, bro.
They did look good against Long Island. A team that has, 40, 50 guys to the rock. That picture, that's not fair.
Their stadium made me laugh.
That just felt disrespectful. Like, don't show the photos next to each other. That just, come on. Of course they're a small school. It's Long Island. Come on. They should be known. Yeah, come on. They should be known for, baseball and hockey. My New York's
and
coming
Gabagool.
Out. Yeah. See, where's Frankie when you need him now? Jesus. Come on. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, again, we got questions depending on how we're going to get through all this. But, yes, we're going to talk about the NFL. Obviously, the big news of the week, all that stuff going down. Talk about college football. We'll do – it's a bring back. It's been a long time. We did this way, way, way back in the early first couple seasons. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the weekly recap, wrap-up, review. God. Yeah, you should have heard my co-host try to say that when it was his turn to try and say that stuff. you get what I'm trying to say.
No, I get it.
Right.
But,
It's alliteration. I don't know. I was 26 and dumb. What do you want from me?
and I'm stuck on Band-Aid brand. Sisters don't stick on me.
This is where we are, folks. This is where we are. We're back. And then, obviously, we're going to do the Pick Six as well. I got 3 college teams. I got 3 NFL games. There was a whole lot more games I could have easily chosen. I just picked the best 6. If we got any more, and obviously we're going to talk about the one that kind of means a lot for some people here in Chicago. But all the same, nevertheless, we will be getting all that. Scotty, ready to hit this, my man? Okay, I'm taking that as a yes. Then let's do this, folks. So let's kick this one off with the big news of the week, obviously, is that, yes, the Dallas Cowboys no longer relevant because they have allowed their best player to go to Green Bay. Micah Parsons being traded to the Green Bay Packers, or being traded for, I should say, I guess in some case, for Kenny Clark, defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers, now the Cowboys, and 2 first-round picks in this year and next year's draft. So, obviously, we all heard the news. I was on vacation, and I kind of was like, what? Because it broke me in a way that I don't think I've ever felt that way before, or it's at least been a while. It's been a minute. This one took me by surprise because he's arguably one of the top 3 best defensive players maybe in the NFL, arguably. He's arguably one of maybe the top 10, possibly 10, at least 15 players in the NFL, again, arguably. The face of your franchise, and yet, bless you, I wasn't sure if that got picked up or not. Okay. Sorry, Scotty sneezed, everybody. But it's the face of the franchise. It's one of the best players in the league, one of the best defensive players in the league. And in the prime of his career, and it just feels like you kind of short-armed this. Like you didn't really put everything into it that you needed to. Like you could have got more, it feels like. When you look at the value of those draft picks and the value of the player you got, yeah, Kenny Clark's a former first-round pick, and he's a pretty decent player in stopping the run, as Jerry Jones profusely said at his press conference after this trade that they needed to do was stop the run. And I thought, no, you're a bit confused there, old man. You need to establish the run. That's been your problem for the last few years, is you don't have a run game. But sure, you need to stop the run. Okay, fine. I guess that's a response in trying to stop Saquon Barkley, arguably the best running back in the league right now, right? I get it. I understand it. It just feels like even with him as a player, shouldn't 3 first-round picks have been there, or 2 seconds with those 2 firsts? Like, somewhere the value doesn't feel like it added up properly. Now, devil's advocate, was Jerry Jones wrong to trade Micah Parsons? Not necessarily. But it feels like you should have done this probably, I don't know, sooner rather than later. Like, it just feels like it's a little bit deflated. And it just kind of like, you're doing this also, too, with a week to go before the regular season starts, right? Like, they played yesterday. And what, the trade happened on Friday, Saturday, right, Scotty? Yeah, something like so much time was allotted for you to be able to make this move. And I get it. They were trying to get a deal done. They were trying to get something negotiated out. Obviously, there was a lot going on behind the scenes, it sounds like, between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons himself and the agent, and Micah Parsons' agent. There's just a lot being mixed into this whole thing. And it just feels like it's a swing and a miss. It feels like the Cowboys whiffed a little bit on this one. And for Jerry Jones' sake, I mean, do people have a right to be mad at him? would say so. If you're a fan, I think you have a right to be angry with Jerry Jones in some capacity because your franchise just left. Your best player is now gone. What kind of team are we? I guess the best way of looking at this would be to say that on the devil's advocate side is you traded a top-tier player for draft picks that you can possibly flip into cheaper, younger assets that could be valuable. But in consideration for what you're getting back with what Green Bay's acquiring and how good this team could potentially be, you could be getting late first-round picks that could end up being trade value for you, sure, but will it amount to trading up in the draft for better picks or quality players? What will be the outcome? That's TBD, of course. But on the surface, this certainly feels like a move that nobody should ever make. But I can also understand it on the opposite side of this. I don't necessarily crucify Jerry Jones for this, but I do think there's going to be some who question his mental fortitude, I guess may be the best word for this. I don't really know. His brain strength, as one of my little cousins puts it.
You know what, Andrew? I'm going to step in because I'm going to offer another side of it because, I think a lot of my opinion of it changed after watching them in one game. I think going into that night, going into last night, I was worried for the Cowboys that he'd be that big of a missing piece. Mm-hmm. And yes, could he would have made an effort. It was a really close game, and obviously players like that in a close game are probably going to help out a little bit more. But the thing is, I kind of got to see what the vision of the trade is once I got to see them play. Because Saquon was not running up the middle last night.
Right.
He wasn't. He wasn't getting anything. He wasn't getting much. I think Clark actually stopped him like twice from getting an extra yard to go for the first down, which obviously for Philly isn't a great thing. But still, right. You're stopping Saquon in there against other teams that don't run the tush push. That's going to be a little different. And also picking up 2 first-round picks. That's gonna help them in the future. And Collinsworth made a good point last night. He goes, if he were to sign him to that contract, that means I think it was 53% of their salary cap would be linked on 3 players.
Correct.
We look at teams right now and how much that hemorrhages them and how much talent they have to lose and how much that hurts them to bring in more talent. That's 100% true. And the fact that they still got a guy who obviously is a step down in production of Kenny Clark to Micah Parsons, but it's not that crazy of a step down. It's just a different position. Obviously, he's not going to get the sack numbers, but he plugs up everything, honestly, better than what they need because the Cowboys, their biggest complaint from last year was their defense allowed too much running up the middle. They solved that. And they brought in enough edge rushers to at least supplement a Micah Parsons move. I think my one problem with this now is that it was just so close to the season. But after watching last night's game, I completely understand it from the Cowboys' point of view. And I'm past the Jerry Jones is stupid for trading him. Now I'm like, it's stupid that he traded one of the best players in the NFL, but it does make sense because it's all about asset management with that.
Right.
You can't hold on to some of the best players if you want to be completely, one of the best teams in the NFL. Look at the Bengals. They're wrapped up in 3 players on offense, and that defense, they can't add anything. You know everything about that. You're a Bengals fan. But, it's that kind of deal. You don't want to be hemorrhaged like that. Yeah. So I get that from Jerry Jones' side. So in that aspect, it's actually kind of smart.
No, hey, look, the one thing I will say is that, like I said before, long term is where this is going to have to be like a TBD thing, because as even Jerry Jones pointed it out, right? Could this be a Herschel Walker deal type of situation? Yeah, look, it very well could be, right? Now, obviously, you got a ton of draft picks for that, and I think since that move, the Bears are the only team that really could equivalate to that kind of move. And after the Bears making that move with Carolina, nobody's probably going to ever make big moves like that again unless it's for somebody like a Patrick Mahomes or something like that, right? especially after the botched one with Russell Wilson. So teams are now thinking on a much higher plane of, do I want to do that? I'm not even going to talk about Deshaun Watson because we all know that was a major mistake, to the point where even the owners acknowledge that was clearly a mistake, right? And clearly. So I agree with you. I agree with you, Scotty. And I don't tempt away from that. If there's one side I'm leaning to is that, yes, this resets the Cowboys. You clearly now put yourself in a position where now you can rebuild, right? You can say to yourselves, okay, we now have 2 first-round picks in the next 2 drafts. Let's use these properly, right? Build up the offensive line, get another edge rusher. I don't know about locking up Deron Bland. I mean, a lot of people were feeding me, hey, he's a pretty good shutdown corner. I guess he is. I don't know. I just keep remember seeing him give up like 130 yards a game against some of the best receivers. That's just me. I get it, but whatever. I think first and foremost, you got to go get a quarterback. Like, this move allots you the position to say we now have room available to spend a first-round pick on a quarterback that we feel is a capable future guy that we can supplement in there if we need to in case Dak gets hurt, right? Because you're not going to strike lightning twice, I don't think. I don't think that's going to happen. And there's enough quarterbacks in these next 2 drafts that you can probably hit on a guy and feel confident saying, I think he can be our franchise. Some of them might actually surprise us by the time this season's over. We'll see, but I mean, look, yeah, on the surface value of this, yeah, look, Jerry Jones is an idiot. It's a bad trade. It's a bad move. It looks bad on the Cowboys. It also looks bad on Jerry Jones because the reporting came out that he was trying to get a deal done with Micah Parsons, I believe it is, on the side without his agent. And then Micah's trying to bring his agent back in when they're trying to get the deal done. And he's like, whoa, you're not getting anything done without me, Micah's agent. I'm hired for this reason purposely. So there's just a lot of backroom stuff that feels like that's going on with the Cowboys in that sense. And I don't really know how much to buy into the Micah Parsons was a problem in the locker room kind of thing. And that's why you maybe shipped him off for so little, right, kind of stuff. All I know is this. The Packers right now probably look more like a 10-7, 11-6, maybe even 12-5 team with him on the roster than they did before. They looked like a 9-8, 8-9 team before him. Like, he's that caliber of a player. You could say I'm wrong, but I look at a guy like him and I say, whether he's crazy in the locker room or not, Charles Haley was insane. But guess what? He gave the Dallas Cowboys a pass rush that ultimately helped them win Super Bowls. And that's what Micah says he's there for. So if he's legit about that, and if the rest of the team is okay with it, shouldn't be a problem, I would think. I'm intrigued to see how this plays out. And like you said, Scotty, after what we saw from the Cowboys, it does make sense. Hit the reset button, start all over again. It's just, it obviously translates odd because this is a guy who's like, I want to win now. I want a championship before I die. And it doesn't feel like it's going to happen. But here's the plus side. I will say, watching the Cowboys documentary, if anybody's seen it, America's Team, if you don't know the story of those Cowboys in the 90s, it's very insightful. Stephen Jones seems to have a good semblance of what reality is. And I think that's important to note. I'm assuming Stephen would be the next one in charge. I'm assuming. And he just seems to have a more competent understanding of, like, here's how we need to do stuff. Especially when, I don't know, did you watch the documentary, right, Scotty?
Yeah, it's
not
I'm
yet.
In there.
Well, there's a moment in there where he said he put his dad up against the wall. So, your own son does that to you. I'm assuming, hey, guy must be confident in knowing the moves. I don't remember what it was about, but I know it happened. He says it happened at least. I don't. Who knows? But that'll do it for Micah Parsons, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, let us know. I know everybody's been talking about it under the sun, but what do you think about the Cowboys without Micah Parsons? How do you think he's going to look this week with the Green Bay Packers? What do you think about the trade? How do you think the Cowboys should use these draft picks? Do you think that the Cowboys can actually build a dynasty? Is this another Herschel Walker trade? Is this a potentially Chicago Bears type of trade? Comment down below. Let us know, ladies and gentlemen, if you think that's the case. All right. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. It is time to talk it, ladies and gents. Yes, that's correct. Here we go. It is the weekly recap, wrap-up, review. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it has been years since we've actually done this, and I'm very happy to be able to bring it back. It's something that I've been thinking, I'm trying to get some of the old games and all the old stuff back, but again, limited shows, limited time. You can only do so much, talk so much, so we'll try to see if we can fit them in here and there if we can. But let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. We got a bunch of games. We're going to pour into these a little bit. Normally, I would kind of just shoot right through these, but because we have a little bit more time, I'm not going to go into long discussion. Scotty, do not worry. But I'm going to ask you, obviously, a few on this here and there because I'm sure you saw some of these games and saw some recaps on this stuff. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start it off. The big one, the big noon kickoff, which apropos actually kind of fit were what we needed for big noon kickoff. We thought this exciting game in its own right if you love defense, but 14-7, not exactly the way you wanted it to go. Ohio State winning the game. Electrifying, not really. Arch Manning does not play well. That's the overall narrative that came out of this. By the way, the internet is ruthless. I mean, before halftime even hit.
Did you just learn this?
No,
yeah,
I know. It was shocking. I know. Whoa, oh my God. Yeah, no, but before even halftime hit, I had in my hand on Twitter like 30 memes of Arch Manning. 30. Like I scrolled through Twitter and it was just Arch Manning. Like it was insane. It was crazy. So what's the takeaways kind of from this game? It's the first game of the season. These are the defending national champions. They clearly didn't lose anything on defense. They have the God DB in Caleb Downs who can play cornerback or safety. And they still have the God receiver in Jeremiah Smith on the other side. And Julian Sand looks like he's going to be an okay quarterback. Like just another Will Howard that can maybe fill in the blank. And I think that's all Ohio State needs. On the other side of this is Arch Manning, who didn't play well for his first game, but it's his first game starting. He just played the defending national champions with a really good defense. And as Scotty pointed out, hey, Caleb Downs is out there. How much do you really want to throw over the top? It's a good point. He doesn't just cut half the field. He cuts it into like 3/4.
I mean, Caleb Downs might just be the best defensive player in all of the nation.
There's an argument to be made he could be the number one pick.
I think there is too.
If
it wasn't a QB heavy draft, I could see it.
Oh, of course. Listen, and there's a lot of talented athletes in this draft. Don't get us wrong, but there's something to be said for a guy that can switch from playing high up top to going man on man in coverage to playing zone in multiple positions at nickel, corner, either side, at either safety position, can also blitz, play the run. You can say whatever you want about Charles Woodson and Deion Sanders. I love those guys too. This is a unique player. And Arch Manning had an average game against that defense.
He could be what we thought Isaiah Simmons was. Because remember Isaiah Simmons came out and played like every position on the defense?
Absolutely.
He's just a better athlete than he was. And he was a freak.
Well, Isaiah Simmons' problem, I think, was he kept bulking up to play that hybrid safety linebacker type of player, and it killed him because you're weighing 230. You're trying to play multiple positions. You're not getting a steady fast diet of being able to concentrate. This guy's at least being told, you play DB. Wherever you want, go. But, folks, again, the narrative on this was, well, Arch Manning didn't play well. And so what, he's a bust? He's terrible? Folks, he may not be his uncles. That's a hard legacy to live up to, one or the other. That's almost damn near impossible in this case. But if he's half as talented as they are, he can help Texas win possibly the SEC, maybe even go to a national championship. And guess what? He's probably coming back next year anyways. So what's the worry? What's the rush? What's the harm? I don't know, Scotty, what did you think for Ohio State, Texas? I mean, not just the narrative itself, but your overall take on the game or the narrative, whatever it is you want for Ohio State, Texas. What'd you take away from the game as a whole?
Well, if you ask Ryan Clark, you're probably thinking, he doesn't have that big of a legacy to hype up to. So,
man doesn't know ball, and yet he played against both of them. Come on,
he played against all three of them.
Yeah, he played against all three. Trace, man. Trace. Uno, dos, tres.
You made fun of my boy Drew.
My guy too. This is my favorite quarterback all time. We bonded over that. And Ryan Clark, you're an LSU man. Come on.
No, I think, a positive you could take from Texas and obviously both teams is both defenses looked phenomenal.
They look like two of the top defenses in the country.
And yeah, easily. And it should be. They're probably 1 and 2, if not like 1 and 3.
Yes.
Offensively, both teams struggles, but no one's going to talk about how Ohio State struggled on offense just because of Arch being there. I think the situation with Arch is it's his first full game as the starter. Obviously he played against like Louisiana Tech, but obviously there's a huge step up in competition.
Right.
On the biggest stage in college football, this game has been hyped up since the spring.
Well, beyond that, I would say it. That is
as
soon as we knew the schedule.
Yeah, this is first game of the year as well. This should be a tune-up game so that you can get confidence. It's tough going into week 1 with not a question at quarterback, but an unproven at quarterback, and be confident about that.
Oh yeah,
and play confident. It's tough. You need that first week tune-up game.
Absolutely.
And no, you're thrown right into the deep end against Ohio State, which, look, any other team, I felt like. Even if they went up against, like, Clemson, I still think it would have been a different outlook. The Ohio State defense is so good.
They are.
I think it's just early, first real game jitter, first game of the season jitter. And because the second half, he actually looked pretty decent. He didn't look great, but he didn't look as bad as he did in the first, that's for sure.
It looked like he was finding his rhythm.
Yes, 100%. And I think Sark's like just going to – I think he had to change how he was using him a little bit. Needed to get him more confidence. He did, and it got a little bit better. They were 2 yards from getting a first down and continuing that drive at the end of the game.
Yeah. They are one more stop, one more play away from having a tied ball game.
Yeah.
Easily. I
don't think this says anything to how bad Arch is. Again,
no,
I think it's
no. This is not an indictment on him.
First game, stop overreacting.
No, this is not an indictment on him and his career. It's just started, folks. It's just started. And it will only get better because, quite frankly, I have the belief that he is that kind of a quarterback. Again, look at his family. Look at the entirety of that family. Even down to who his father is himself, he is a very talented athlete, arguably the most athletic of the Mannings. That's coming from the mouth of the other three who played quarterback, okay? He's fine. Ohio State, though, boy, you got to figure out that running back thing, man. To me, that's what's going to be killing him. Because Julian Sain's fine, and he'll get in rhythm himself. Same Arch Manning problem. He got into a rhythm kind of later on into the game. He was just feeling it out with guys like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. You saw later on he started to get into his own rhythm. He'll get there, but that run game needs to come with you to at least be able to kill the clock in some regard. I have my worries about how that running back, those running backs are going to work because they just don't have an established dude or dudes in this case. There's no Judkins, and sorry, he's not coming back to school now. And Henderson, he had to go to the NFL. By the way, disrespectful. How dare you not make him the starting running back? Come on. He's better than Ramondre Stevenson. Jesus. I don't have him on my fantasy team, by the way, but I'm just saying. All right, let's move into the next one. We got good old Florida State and Alabama. Hey, Scotty, let me ask you this. You ever seen like the movies and TV shows where it's a trope that happens in these? You get like the older sibling that's like going off to college and they toss the keys to like the younger sibling. It's like, here, look after my car.
Yeah.
Does it feel like that happened at Alabama, and then Kalen DeBoer took the nice, fancy sports car that we know as Alabama, and over the first year, he may have hit a few scuffs here and there, but nothing you couldn't buff out. And then this game, he hit the curb, bopped on the curb, hit a stop sign, hit the road sign, and then hit a pole.
Seemed like they were walking around and stepping on rakes. That's what it seemed like.
That too. Look, first things first, props to Florida State from going from 2-10. You're taking on a top 10 team in the country in Alabama, and you figured it out.
They looked so different compared to last year.
They are faster. Tommy Castellanos, I said on Twitter, they looked like the 2010 Auburn team. He's not Cam Newton. I don't know if we're ever gonna see that again. But in terms of running that offense, that Gus Malzahn, shocker, why they look like the 2010 Auburn team. Gus Malzahn being the OC, he's kind of the kryptonite to Alabama. He ran that offense perfectly. They are so fast. And Tony White, man, I feel like he's going to make Nebraska regret firing him because or at least if anything, he's got the right players to make that defense work because they just attacked. They were relentless with their pursuit on Ty Simpson. This, though, falls on Kalen DeBoer's shoulders as far as you are a new face in this program, obviously trying to establish his own culture, obviously trying to establish who he is as a head coach, and between that and personnel decisions that were made, it felt like a cluster muck. Ty Simpson felt like he was doing some good things and yet was overmatched by the pressure of the situation. Your offensive line outside of Caden Proctor, your left tackle, felt very average. They had no run game, which is unusual for Alabama. And even if they did have Jam Miller in there as their running back, I don't think he's an efficient running back to really establish the run. And their defense is star-studded. Sabb, Hubbard, Jackson, Brown, Overton, Lawson. They've got guys for days that can go to the NFL. And Brown's a sophomore, by the way. He's not even NFL ready. But he could go to the NFL soon. But everybody just looked lethargic at times. They looked like they weren't really putting in their best effort. There were play calls at times on the defense even too that I was kind of like, what are they doing? And oh, by the way, Florida State neutralized maybe Bama's best weapon in Ryan Williams, which I don't think he's overrated for those that are making that call. I think he's an 18-year-old kid who's still trying to get his feet underneath him, for God's sakes. But this felt like one guy has this all figured out on this is who we are, this is how we're doing it. I'm giving these two guys the play calling duties, and I'm just going to be head coach. Mike Norville figured out the problem, and the problem was him. Which I will say, I'm a little bit concerned because how is he and Gus Malzahn going to exist? Because how many times did you hear Mike Norville's name during that broadcast?
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Like hardly at all.
It's very true.
I wonder if they can subside their egos, right? I think that's going to be okay. But it feels like it might be a hard position. That being said, though, Alabama just did not come ready to play.
No, I think it's the same kind of situation we talked about with Texas and Ohio State. Like, it's a tough game to walk into week one.
Yeah.
Right?
And they were away. Alabama was away in Doak Campbell.
So
it's not an easy place in Tallahassee.
A lot of like the defense and some parts of the offense, I'll kind of huck it up to that. Where first game, it's actually a decently tough game. You know, it's not like Florida State was a step over. Obviously, they looked bad last year, but you're hoping that they made improvements.
Right.
You know, and you don't know how they're going to come out. So I can put like half of that game up to it was just the first game.
Yeah.
My main problem, and I texted you about this, is I think they literally just picked the wrong quarterback.
No, I agree.
Simpson just looked so off playing. Almost like he didn't understand the playbook at times.
Yeah.
He didn't know where his guys were going to be. He didn't know what his offensive line was doing. It looked like he was stepping up into players, not into space, based on, changing up the protection.
I was going to say, he wasn't even doing that sometimes. He was doing the classic roll left and roll right when pressure's coming, which he then goes into sacks.
Yes, honestly, it just looked like Alabama might have picked the wrong quarterback. And I get it. Obviously, probably go with him. He's a little bit more experienced out of week one. But the other guy, we were kind of talking about it here. He might not on paper look like he's all that, but you might just have to go with him because he just looks so off.
The other option they've been talking about when they talked about who's going to start for Bama, it was Ty Simpson or Alex Mack.
That's what was his name. I was losing his name.
Yeah, Alex Mack is the other guy. Now, Alex Mack was at Washington with Kalen DeBoer. He came over with Kalen DeBoer. He's 6'6", he's 230. He's got that look of a quarterback. But I've watched his film, and I'm kind of like, I don't think he's another Michael Penix Jr. or anything like that.
Yeah, but he's also had like a year to sit behind, 2 years to sit behind with Kalen DeBoer. So,
right.
Obviously, stuff could have changed.
No,
and I just think
100%.
You might, you're going to talk about Colorado in a second.
Right.
They should do what Colorado's thinking about doing. They should be thinking about maybe switching quarterback because Simpson just looks so off that I think obviously Kalen DeBoer's the biggest reason why they lost that game because he made a lot of bad decisions, including picking the quarterback. Yeah. But Simpson just looks so off. It was insane.
Well, this is where I kind of wonder, if you start Alex Mack after this kind of a game, right, and he doesn't perform well, and then you decide you're going to go back to Simpson or something like that, this becomes a triggering point then for your 5-star freshman that you just got from Duncanville, Texas, Keelan Russell, who I am all in on because, and I'm saying this as an LSU fan, right? I'm saying this as an LSU fan looking at it and saying he's got the arm. I think he's got the accuracy. I think he has the athleticism. At 18 years old, it's a lot of pressure, sure, to put on a kid that maybe is unnecessary. But considering that Kalen DeBoer may have potentially crashed this car to the inevitable point where now it has to be towed and now it has possibly these giant bills that maybe he can't pay, which may lead to the car being repoed and him ultimately being cast away as the driver, i.e., he's getting fired. That sounds crazy, but it's Alabama, and they haven't been through this in years. He's looking less like a disciple of the successor for Nick Saban and feels more like he's, I believe it was Mike Shula or Dan Shula, whichever one of the Shulas it was that coached at Alabama, and everyone went, well, it's a Shula. It's a Shula. Why can't they win at Alabama with it? Because it's not Don Shula.
Shout out Michael Penix for getting an offensive coordinator from Indiana a job at Alabama.
I was gonna leave
Shout
that one for
out
you.
to Michael Penix.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a problem right now for Bama. This is it's not, I would say, a red flag, but you're going orange. You're off a yellow going orange on this one.
Speaking of orange, LSU took down the orange of the Clemson Tigers.
Yes. Yes.
A little bit to your shock, a little bit to my shock as well. I'm good with it.
Boy, talk about a hard stopper on that, folks. I mean, LSU, first off, it should have been a 2-touchdown win. That's BS. They called that touchdown back. He hit the byline.
Yeah, that was
whatever. He hit it. That should be a touchdown. Either way.
Game is gone.
Yeah, either way, game's over with. I came across from this. This is that game where, I tell people, lower your expectations so when they play better, you feel good. I went into this with very low expectations because this is a Clemson team that is stacked, right? Number 4 in the country, Cade Klubnik, Antonio Williams, Bryant Wesco, 2 possibly top 5 picks on the defensive line in Parker and Woods. Not to mention they've got A.J. Terrell's younger brother, Avion, who might possibly be one of the top corners in this draft. He looks like it. He certainly played. I don't know why I'm looking over here like he's over here. He's not. But you get it.
The mannequin isn't even over there, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he already scared me. He was in the editing room for film emphasis and made me jump because I'm like, who's there? Yeah. Thanks a lot, Manny. Yeah, no, look, this game, it's not their best look for LSU. nor Clemson.
Yeah,
I think they're both way better than what they showed here.
That's fair. I don't think it's bad on either side, at least, but
No.
they could step it up a lot more, especially that
Absolutely.
Clemson offense. They could step it up a little bit more.
Well, and I think this is that is what I ultimately came across with is that Klubnik, who should be, I would say, a Heisman favorite, should be considered, in my book, a favorite to be a top quarterback in the draft, got neutralized. Like, absolutely neutralized by an LSU defense who last year was one of the worst. And through a handful of transfer guys, Patrick Payton from Florida State, and Pyburn, is it, from Florida? And obviously the big name that's been on everybody's lips has been Mansour Dulane, who I knew was good at Virginia Tech. I don't know why everybody else didn't see this. I just didn't know he was so locked up as a corner. That shocked me. But the biggest part I think that helped them is they got back their boy, Harold Perkins Jr. That kid, number 7, playing linebacker with the Weeks brothers, should be drafted in the NFL and will be probably a star. Because he got the sack on Cade Klubnik to force a 4th down, and on the 4th down towards the end of the game, when Clemson was driving for a chance, who puts the pressure on Klubnik? Harold Perkins Jr. That kid is special. That's why he was a 5-star recruit. That's why Brian Kelly made him number 7, gave him the lock honor of being the number 7, to wear the number 7. That's special at LSU. And offensively, Aaron Anderson's incredible. He's looking better and better as the receiver. Trey'Dez Green is huge as a tight end. He's 6'7.5".
He looks massive.
He's the fact that it's crazy that the basketball team's still like, I mean, can we have him so we can maybe start him? And they're like, no, because we need him. The kid's insane. I think Caden Durham's got a good shot of being that next Clyde Edwards-Helaire type of kid. Just makes plays. And Garrett Nussmeier, what more can be said? He just dots it. He's incredible.
His arm looked very much improved, which was crazy because he already had a decent arm.
I will say, as an LSU fan who did not believe, Mr. Nussmeier, I apologize. I did not think he was going to be this good. You can ask David. You can ask Tyler.
Apology, Andrew.
I am sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Nussmeier. I apologize. I was wrong. I should have known you would continue the lineage of LSU quarterback. Why isn't anybody catching on to this? That LSU's just kind of like pushing out NFL talent at multiple positions, probably in the first round. Come on, folks. Catch on. I don't know if LSU's going to win the national championship, like Lee Corso said. By the way, shout out to a man who gave everything in his life to college football. Shout out to him, too, for picking LSU to win the national championship. I don't know if they can, but after this game, I like their odds.
You know, all of his teams that he coached won on Saturday?
I was going to say.
That's incredible.
That I love that. And I think they said he was perfect with his picks again.
And he was perfect with his picks.
That. What a way for a man to go out. Shout out to you, Lee Corso. 100% love you. We'll miss you.
And shout out to the dog of Kirk Herbstreit for announcing a blowout football game.
Absolutely. And also, was it Pat McAfee that slipped on his dookie?
No.
Or was it some kid?
That was some kid, but also probably Kirk Herbstreit because the kid kicked a 30-yard field goal for the money. So, which fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair. I wouldn't care. I could go buy some new shoes.
Sometimes you got to take a little crap if you're going to make $250K.
True.
All right, let's move into some of these games real quick. Look, real quick, Miami, Notre Dame, I'm just going to say they both looked impressive.
They both did.
I'm going to
Carson Beck, dude. Sorry, bro.
No,
I said last week he'd be exposed, bro. He actually played pretty good.
Yeah, CJ Carr looked like Brady Quinn 2.0.
I was very surprised with him, to be honest. I was very surprised.
He actually had some wheels on him. I'll give him credit. He ran the ball pretty well for that touchdown. It was good.
I will say, Notre Dame starting out really slow. That better not be a thing next week.
Yeah, this is the problem. Once they hit 21-7, I was like, I don't think they're going to win this game. Even though they came back They could have won it.
That's the problem.
It's
Once
just
they
you
get to
went
that
down
point,
so quickly.
yes, that's the point. That's the point.
Like we saw again in the national championships. So that's kind of a problem. Also, your best player got neutralized. Jeremiah Love was dead to the world. And you can't have that. That kid has to get going. But Carr has proven that there can be a good balance, I'm hoping, between Love and Carr, pass and run. They seem to have the weapons. As for Carson Beck, this is what happens when you have wide receivers. I'll give him that. Because last year, I don't know if you knew this, Scotty, Georgia led all college football with 36 drops.
Yeah, that is insane.
That's nuts. C.J. Daniels, I know him well from LSU. You're welcome.
UAB should be doing that, bro. They should be having the most drops, not Georgia.
Yes. Malachi Toney looks like a dude. That guy looks like a dude.
He looked good.
He made an incredible catch himself, as well as C.J. Daniels making a great one-handed catch there too. Both of them, insane. But Malachi Toney looks like that another, I'm going to say he goes beyond Xavier Restrepo, not in terms of his career stuff, but in terms of his ability. This one game could have pushed him up a lot, for sure. But, yeah, look, Carson Beck, Mario Cristobal, I think these are two teams I think are going to make the college football playoff. At least for Miami, compete for the ACC.
Somehow Notre Dame will get in there. So
They should. This team is good enough they should. But like you said, the slow start, that's worrisome.
yeah,
You cannot do that. Certainly you can't do that in the college football playoff.
I think you got two more games you want to talk about. I got two quick questions for you. Are the Buffaloes going to make a mistake by changing their quarterback?
God, that's tough. That is really tough.
Because I mentioned it to you. I said
We talked about this. We did.
he did not make any mistakes.
Right.
But
Caden
he didn't.
Salter.
Caden Salter did not make any mistakes.
Right.
But he didn't look bad.
No.
He just looked serviceable. He looked like he could run the offense.
And that's, I think, the issue here is that you have a head coach who's not under pressure necessarily, right? Because he knows he's there. But you just went from your son, who put up all these crazy numbers. You also retired his jersey unnecessarily by my account and by many's account. And now, and now you're having to try to fill those shoes. So I think there is a little bit of, I would say, panic from him, kind of going like, who do I really go with? Because it took them up to the wire to pick their quarterback. Like, this wasn't like we know right away who's going to start. This was I have a 4-star freshman that decommitted from USC to come here. And I have this other kid coming from Liberty who played really well there, who's coming here with a lot of NIL money in his pocket. Who do I start? It's a tough choice. I don't know if it's the right choice. I will say this. With we were already talking about this before the show because we can't contain ourselves when we do this. We know that. The Welsh kid and Salter themselves both put up 100 yards total. You need a running back that is more. If Welch is the guy to be a running back, then you need to get him going if you're going to start Salter. Lewis is the guy who has a more dynamic arm. Therefore, you can send Omarion Miller and Williams, I think, is the other receiver they use a lot, and Taylor was the other one that was getting looks too. They've got a litany of guys that they can kind of throw out there, and they can just go, and he'll throw the ball out. So this is where Dion needs to make a settlement. Are you going to establish the ground game? Let's go with the, kind of easy-going quarterback, or do you want to say, no risk it, no biscuit, let's put that ball out there and see what happens? Because you had that last year, and you had a winning record, but you didn't make the college football playoff, and that's what the aim is for. That's the goal in this, right? It's to get into the Big 12, get to the Big 12 championship, get to the college football playoff. So I don't know if it's to me, I would give Salter one more game, maybe two, and see what he does.
I'd give him two.
Like I said, at least
there was
two.
Nothing he did wrong.
Right.
There was nothing he did that drastically affected how the offense was playing and was a huge mistake.
Right.
He misses passes. He didn't fumble the ball. He didn't turn over the ball.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and this is a Georgia
that's
Tech team that's
serviceable.
pretty good.
Yeah,
They're a
that's
veteran
serviceable.
team.
Yeah.
They're a veteran team. Haynes King and Jamal Haynes could be a dynamic duo in the backfield. Almost as good as what we saw from Auburn, which shout out to them. They have a quarterback who ran for more yards than he threw for. Who knew Jackson Arnold could actually run the ball?
Yeah, they kind of took away him passing the ball a little bit. That was
Well, because he
a little
stinks at it.
scary.
I don't know what happened between his time of being a Texas hero and being a guy who now is a glorified running back, but good for you, man. You got to win.
Here's my other question for you. Are
Please.
you taking anything and away from this North Carolina game? Like, is Bill Belichick just not going to translate to college? What?
I was talking with somebody about this, about the whole blowout situation. First off, Sonny Dykes is a really good coach. Let's not take anything. And then again, another
Don't take
veteran,
anything away from that TCU
no, yeah,
team.
another veteran team that I think could be scary for the Big 12.
That Big 12 is wide open, and TCU just said, "Hey, we aren't really talked about for this, but we probably should be."
Why didn't know, folks? If you don't know who Josh Hoover is, the kid's a good quarterback. Like, kid's got NFL talent.
Probably
play.
better than Duggan, to be honest. Duggan was
way,
sick for him.
way better than Duggan.
Duggan was sick.
Way better than Duggan. But no, listen. I was talking with somebody about this, and he said it feels like Bill Belichick is resting on his laurels and not really giving it the full go. And I kind of have to agree with that. Look at the people he has around him. He's got his two sons are on the coaching staff. He's got Collins, Jalen Collins, or whatever his name is, the linebacker that played for him for so many years is on the, like, he's got people around him that's like, oh, these are my buddies. I trust them. Instead of, like, hire the best people available.
I don't know. I think you should just take into account that this is a UNC team
it's a first time in college.
It's not like he's walking into LSU, guys. He's walking into North Carolina.
That's also
Their best quarterback is Mitch Trubisky, bro. Like, you're not going to a blue blood college football powerhouse right here. You're going to North Carolina.
That's the biggest thing that I took away from this, though, is that, like, dude, it's Belichick. Belichick at Alabama might be a completely different situation than Belichick at North Carolina. He took a 3-year contract on this. Right now, he's probably looking at this like a coaching vacation. Like, he doesn't have to do too much. He knows how good North Carolina is. If they win, great. If they don't, no skin off his nose, I think, necessarily. I will say this. I don't know why you paid Gio Lopez all that money, because, man, that dude cannot play football. I'm sorry. That kid comes from South Alabama. I know he looked good there, but from the transition from there to a Power 4, he can't do it. Meanwhile, you've got, what, a 6'5", SEC embattled son of a former NFL quarterback in Max Johnson just sitting there on your bench, and then you play him and he actually ends up having a very good game. Like, gets you a garbage touchdown for no reason, but gives you like a sense of like, oh, so this is what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, because start Brad Johnson's son, for crying out loud. That's who he is, by the way, if you don't know. And that's not just some generic player like I made that in like an auto-select on like NCAA football. Like, no, his name is Brad Johnson. He won with the Bucks. He was with the Cowboys. He was with the Vikings. This kid has NFL blood. Start him. You're an NFL head coach. What are you doing? I don't think Belichick is bad for this program necessarily. I just don't know how much he's putting into it. And like you said, like I just thought immediately, I'm like, it's UNC.
It's hard to rebuild a school in 1 year.
Yeah, especially one that says we're going to put a lot more of our assets into basketball.
Yes.
And almost baseball, too. I mean, come on. They've got more first-rounders, I think, in baseball than they probably do in football. Don't quote me on that. I don't know.
It's hard to rebuild a school like that in just 1 year, even with Bill Belichick, who hasn't coached college football in a long time.
Yeah.
Doesn't recruit much. You know, he's probably bringing in new scouts and stuff and all like that, you know, to get high school talent. It takes more than just an off season.
And needs to be said, he's got a young woman who is in charge of everything with him.
Did you see her on the field asking for $20 for the food at a concession stand?
By the way, her sorority did a really good job with the whole balloon arch. I really like that. I love is love. Whatever. For me, when you hit that point of 18, whatever. If you think you're in love, fine. But I don't know. It feels like a cash grab to me. Sorry, not sorry. I'll just mention this real quick. Shout out to my boy Tyler's team, Nebraska. Dylan Raiola looked pretty good.
Yo, Patrick Mahomes playing at Arrowhead looked really good, dude.
Shut up. That game should have been like a Florida State game. The fact that it was 20-17 is a little bit embarrassing. And then shout out to Tennessee for getting 2 wins in 1 week with Joey Aguilar looking like a really impressive quarterback in Josh Heupel's offense, and Nico Iamaleava just completely. Yikes. I mean, again, like we said with UNC, though, dude, it's UCLA.
Yikes, bro.
Did you not think that things were gonna? Did you think things were gonna get easier? Because they're probably gonna be like bottom of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But hey,
it's all right. He'll have a great game against Rutgers. It's okay.
Right, of course. And what's he getting paid? $5 million?
No, I think
$4 million.
No, he wanted $5 million.
Oh, he wanted $5 million, but he's getting 4.
He got like
no,
2.
he's taking
no, he
less.
got like 2.
He's taking less.
He got like 2.
Yeah, he got $2 million.
He wanted 5. He got 2.
So you left $2 million on the table.
No, you left $3 million on the table.
You left $3 million on the table
because you wanted 5.
Because you wanted 5,
and you ended up with 2.
You ended up with 2, and now you're on a worse team. Help me make sense, folks, because he ain't looking like Troy Aikman. For shame on you, my son. For shame.
I didn't know Frankie was running his financials.
Jeez. Hey, man, you know what? Here's the plus side. At least I'll throw these out too, man.
At least he's in L.A.
At least he's in L.A. And, hey, what's in California right now, too, I got to say, man, Cal's got a dude. I don't know why nobody really picked up on this kid, but, man, that freshman can play. And Mayava, USC might have a quarterback. I'm just saying, maybe. We'll find out. That's going to do it for the college stuff here, ladies and gentlemen, though. I know that was a lot, so we won't get to the question stuff. But obviously, we'd love to hear your questions, as always. Let us know, though, what you think about week 1 for college football. What are you going to think about this week? This is kind of a weird week because there's not too many big matchups. There's a couple sprinkled in there here and there. But what do you guys think about last week? Comment down below. Let us know how your team did. By the way, shout out to Scotty's team again, Florida, beating Long Island, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but there's things to take away from it. We talked about it.
That's the biggest
There's
thing.
things to take away from it.
If your
DJ
team
looks like he's improved.
Yes. If your team this week and next week are playing those tune-up games, those get-ready games,
you got to look at you got to look at the scheme, and you got to look at individual players. You don't look at the team overall because
the blogs.
Of course, DJ Lagway is going to throw 3 touchdowns against Long Island.
He should.
You're going to hope he should.
He should.
But it's how he's playing, how he looks in that. That's what you need to look at more.
Absolutely. And it looks like that injury didn't even take a toll on him. So that's the plus side on that. Meanwhile, there are some who, again, North Carolina, man.
Drew Aller. Also, last thing, Drew Aller.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that goes without saying.
That goes without saying, but
they look.
But he was very impressive on Saturday. He was very impressive.
He looked more quarterback-ish, if that makes sense.
I got a lot of Phillip Rivers in him.
That's a good comparison. I like that.
I could see that.
I like that. Phillip Rivers with a bit of a bigger arm.
Yeah.
There's that Josh Allen arm in that kid with the size, but there's the Phillip Rivers kind of he's seeing the field now in him. I like that. I swear though, kid, please. I mean, so much pent up rage in Phillip Rivers, he had to go and have 12, 15, 22 kids.
He's got to fill out an offensive line, wide receivers.
He's got a whole offense, period. And now his son's going to be a top recruit in the country. How crazy is that?
Oh, and shout out Devin Hester Jr. Not Devin Hester's kid, but Devin Hester Jr. for taking a kickoff back.
Yeah.
That was the craziest thing. Everyone tweeting that it's Devin Hester's kid. Oh, my God, look at he's just like his dad. Nah.
Like father, like son.
Not Devin Hester's kid, though. Not the Devin Hester's kid.
Yeah, for those who don't know.
Devin Hester's kid.
Name, same, no relation. But yes, it's Devin Hester taking a kick. Yes, you're right. All right, Scotty, let's do it, baby. It's time again, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing it. Pick six. Taking the top 6 games of the week. We're putting them together. Again, this week as far as the NFL, there is a long list we could have just done on the NFL. But I want to throw in some college in there as well, so I threw in some college games there too. So we'll maybe talk about some of these NFL games that are up and coming for the week here too, of course, as well. But let's get through these, Scotty, shall we? First up, number 11, Fighting Illini, moving up against the Duke Blue Devils. As it stands right now, Illinois is, in fact, 3-point favorites. The over-under's at 49.5. Scotty, Illinois, Duke, how do you see it, my man?
It's tough going into Durham sometimes, but I don't really know if I've seen enough improvement out of Duke from last year. I think the under hits, but I'll take the Illinois at 3. I think I'd maybe give them 10 if everything goes to plan. But, sometimes it is a little tough going into Durham, but I'll take Illinois.
Okay. I think I'll go with Illinois too. It's tough because I watched back the highlights on that game for Duke. Mensa looks like a quarterback. I'm not saying Daniel Jones. We're not even touching that one. Okay? But he looks like he has the ability to go out there and be super competitive, throws the ball really well, very accurate. I like the stuff I'm seeing from him in terms of the release, all of that. Looks fantastic. They have a wide receiver on there that's like a rocket scientist too. Like he's going for like his master's degree or something like that, which is insane. They have a good shot, but I will say Illinois. I'll say Illinois by like 1.5. I give this Duke team some credit. I'll give them some credit right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'll give them some credit.
Other than at quarterback, I'm not really impressed with Duke's improvement.
I need to see more from Illinois too.
That's fair. That is fair.
They had a tune-up game. This is a kind of an important matchup for them. This is a chance for Altmaier and all those guys to get. They looked good. Don't get me wrong.
I can't believe Illinois is 11th in the nation.
Well, I mean, look at how many teams lost.
Still.
I know. Trust me.
Still.
They're going to get a bump. They're going to get a bump. And they get the Big Ten bump too, so. But I would give them 1.5. And again, it's just I need to see more from them. It could easily be like a 14-point difference in this game, maybe more even. I will go with the over, though, and yeah, I'll go with the over. I'll go with the over on this. I feel confident in that. It could be a shootout. For all we know, this could end up being a big old shootout between the two of them. So
the only reason I took the under is I think this game will start slow.
It's possible.
I could see like a 7-3 first half. Yeah, honestly. I think it could be very slow.
No, absolutely. They both play the same way. It's a lot of establish the run, small passes here and there, right, crossing routes, things like that, and then just try and tattoo the quarterback essentially. So, all right, next game it is Baylor against number 17 SMU. Now, there were other games I liked outside of them, yes, but the reason I like this is because I like Sawyer Robertson as a quarterback for Baylor, and I think he gives Baylor a good shot to always be in the game. And even though they lost to Auburn, I still think they were very impressive. And this SMU team, we saw them in the college football playoff last year. Now, they lost some good pieces, but they look like they still have – I mean, Jennings is still their guy at quarterback. They seem to have found some replacements at receiver and running back that are going to fill in the gaps pretty well. It just feels like a big test right now for SMU and for Baylor to kind of prove themselves in both their conferences, essentially, in the Big 12 for Baylor and ACC for SMU. So, Scotty, who are you going with for this one, man?
I think this is going to be an important game just because I think this will separate them from the rest in their conferences. I think if either team steps out with a win, they're significantly looked at favorably in each of their conferences. I think, they get into that upper echelon. Like if Baylor takes down SMU, that's a ranked opponent. They take it down. Who else could they take down in their conference? SMU. They go up against a tough Baylor team who gave it to Auburn last week. That's another really good test for them. I've always loved what SMU does. I really love their coaching, but I think I'm going to go with the upside. I'm going to take Baylor in this one.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I like that.
I love what SMU does. I love the way they coach. I love the way they play on offense. But I think just this Baylor team, I think is going to take that step up.
I mean, these are two very good coaches. Between the two of them, I do like David Aranda a lot. I mean, there's a little biasy there, but still. He's a good coach, and I like Baylor too. I'll take SMU on this. I'll take them on the 2.5, and I will take the over on this for sure. This feels like a definite shootout. This feels like a quarterback battle to the death kind of thing. And when I say over, this could hit like the over. Like this could go like into the 70-80 mark. That's how good this game could actually be. It all depends, though. It all depends. Because the defenses right now, I think for both of these teams, the defenses are kind of average. So it'll be the who gets the turnover kind of thing that I think ultimately decides this game. All right, last college game I got. It's the only one that has two ranked teams. It's number 15, Michigan, against number 18, Oklahoma. Both of them had pretty impressive showings last week. Again, both of them playing some easier games, but this is a true test for both as well. This is that moment to kind of prove it. So, Scotty, Oklahoma is favored right now by 5.5, and the over/under is just sitting at 45.5.
Yeah,
who are you taking?
And you know what? I'm gonna kind of. It's not because I hate Michigan. It is not.
Okay.
I'm taking Oklahoma on this.
Okay.
Here's why. I think you're gonna get an arch game with this. I think Bryce. It took a little bit longer for Bryce Underwood to get into that game last week against a very weak opponent. So
right.
That's
it's fair.
That's not a good look for paying him $3 million a year.
Yeah,
and
right.
starting as a freshman. But I will say the Michigan offense did look improved. I think just the experience and being at home for Oklahoma is what's going to take them. And I could see Bryce getting a little bit of a gut check.
Yeah.
Like this is college football type game. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma on this one. I think honestly though it could be a tight game. And Underwood just makes a mistake in the end. I could see that happening. So the 5 is a little scary, but that over/under is kind of right there for me. I think it might be barely over.
Okay, all right. If I don't pick Michigan, everyone's gonna say it's because I hate them for taking Bryce Underwood away from LSU. I know how this goes. I know how it goes. But I'm taking Oklahoma too. I like Underwood. Don't get me wrong. Would have loved him better at LSU, but still. That's right. Garrett Nussmeier is my quarterback. Portnoy can keep his billions of dollars. I'll take some if he doesn't want it. All right, yeah, so I'm a little bit like that. So what? We all be like that.
Salute.
Listen, I think Bryce Underwood can have a good game in this one. I don't know where, again, this is a big test for Michigan.
I don't know where he ranks in college football quarterback right now.
Yes, that's the biggest thing is like as the 5-star plus composite number 1 quarterback, number 1 player in the country, is he a top 5, top 10 guy? Doesn't feel like it. So is he 15? Is he 20? He feels like he should be in that 30 to 40 range, maybe more so. Could be in the 20, and I think this is the game where he can prove it. But like you said,
I think he could be a lot farther down than that,
he
too.
He could be. He very well could be. I feel like you're right, though. There's a little bit of that. This is a tougher opponent. Oklahoma revamped their defense. Venables feels like he got a revamped defense. That backfield feels strong for Oklahoma. I don't know why people keep counting out John Mateer. He's not Baker Mayfield. But
he's not a crazy step down either.
No. He's probably somewhere.
He's not a Heisman winner.
He's better than Trevor Knight. He's below Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
There you go. If you want a comparison on that. And if you're saying, well, what about Kyler Murray? Well, he's in his own category because he was
that's different.
That's a different kind
He's different.
That's a different kind of beast right there. But Oklahoma, I might say like 12 or 13.
I can't get there.
Their offense just looks like it's in motion. Jaden Ott is a great back for them. Now, Justice Haynes for Michigan feels like that back for them that they always need, right? Establish that run. That's what they do. But Oklahoma's defensive line is very good. This year they're different. They revamped that team. And Venables is a good run-stopping coach. So I may push this thing. I'll say 10. I'll split the difference on 10. I'll say it hits the under. I just don't know if Michigan's offense is going to be prepared for Oklahoma. They've, again, new-looking DBs, new-looking defensive line. I like the way they look. I like it.
Andrew, before we get into this football game, we're going to start with Kansas City and the Chargers.
Yeah.
I want to get into something real quick because this game's in Brazil. There's a lot of Chargers fans.
Sao Paulo, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out Santos.
Absolutely.
Boy.
I
got a problem with this game.
I think we've talked about this before, maybe, but
no, the Chargers fans are annoying me about this because last year when they had the game, they're complaining that the game was a neutral site game,
right?
But set up for the Eagles because both end zones had the Eagles on it, and it seemed themed for the Eagles.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I think what happened is the NFL learned, hey, it's a neutral site game. Let's put both teams on the field since really neither of them are home. One's just the home team.
Right.
I think they just learned that that's what they should do. I don't think it's favoritism toward the Eagles or favoritism for the Chiefs at all. I think it's literally just you need to market both teams playing.
Right.
Because I think people walked out of Brazil last year not Packer fans. They walked out as Eagle fans because they won. And they were marketed for Brazil, even though they couldn't wear, even though they shouldn't have worn green in the stadium. So,
It's fair.
But anyways,
yes,
I think that just like that's just stupid complaint, and that's been the biggest thing on Twitter that like last night and this morning, that people are complaining that the field is. Honestly, in my opinion, set up how it should be for a neutral site game.
No,
the fact that they go to London and it says the same team in both end zones for London is stupid.
Right.
It's a neutral site game. They don't do that for college. Tennessee's home against Syracuse at the Mercedes-Benz last week.
Right.
It said Tennessee and Syracuse.
Right.
Didn't say Tennessee, and have a Tennessee logo in the middle.
Yeah.
No, it's a neutral site game. No team's home.
Yeah. No, 100%.
No team is quote-unquote home.
Honestly, if that's something that's bugging, for me, if that's something that's really bugging you to the core where you're like, man, we're not going to win the game. If that's what you think it is, we've got problems.
And you want to know what? Because they're complaining about that, give me Kansas City, give me over that spread, give me the over on points, like, just because of that. Although I do think the Chargers, the only reason I'm going the over is because I think that Chargers offense is going to look much improved.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that. I think actually getting Keenan Allen back is going to help Ladd McConkey so much more because he's going to be able to learn a lot from a guy like Keenan Allen.
Mm-hmm. Takes pressure off.
Is Najee playing? Is Najee playing?
From what I understand, I think he's questionable.
Okay.
But from what the depth chart says right now, Marion Hampton, the rookie, is getting the start.
Which is fine. I think once they get Najee in, that helped them a lot. But I'm still going to go Chiefs, and I think they could win it convincingly. But I think the Chargers they're actually going to look very much improved upon from last year.
Okay. I'm actually going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers on this. I'm probably going to take 2 points for them. I'll give them 2. And I would say I think this can hit the over because, like you said, the offense is revamped. I think Omarion Hampton's got something in store.
I think it might just take him a while to get into it. I think around week 2 or week 3 or week 4, you're going to see that boom in him.
Okay.
I think he might struggle in the first 2 weeks, finding holes and that kind of deal. I think just adjusting to the speed of the NFL might be a little different for him.
Yeah.
So
I just have something inside of me saying, like, kid's going to have himself probably a nice little game. Because, listen, who knows how to establish a run better than Jim Harbaugh. Like a handful of guys right now in the league are probably going to be able to do that. So the only issue here, though, is that you don't have Rashawn Slater. But
they don't have Becton now, too.
Right, and they don't have
He
Becton.
is out.
That being said, though, now that you don't have those guys, do you want your quarterback to keep dropping back from under center in the shotgun, putting him at risk potentially? Because you're probably going to run more shotgun. You're probably not going to put him under center too much unless he's handing the ball off. So this could also be an easy win for the Chiefs as well. But, yeah, I'll say it hits the over, and I'll go with the Chargers. I'll go the opposite side on this. It could go either way because this is the AFC West outside of like the Raiders is charging up to be a 3-team race, essentially, at this point.
In this one, Andrew, I think you're the biggest question, what's going to be the bigger problem? Is Sam Darnold actually going to be an improvement on Geno Smith, or is Christian McCaffrey being injured once again actually going to hurt the 49ers again?
Okay, but first off, the McCaffrey thing shouldn't even be like a discussion because he's always hurt. He's the Kawhi Leonard of the NFL at this point. My God, it's almost like he never plays, it feels like, which he does, by the way. And when he does, he's one of the best. But it feels like he hardly ever plays. So, yeah, look, the spread right now on this one is 2.5 for San Francisco. 43.5 is the over-under.
When did you see that? Was that before he got injured or after?
That was before the announcement, I believe.
Okay, so I'm going to look real quick and see what
it's at. Look it up and see if it's changed at all.
It might be the same.
It's hard to tell because when he's not in the game, it doesn't. When he's in the game, is he healthy? Is he 100%? Does it make a difference? It feels like it does.
Yeah,
certainly
that's fair.
He's the best player on the team when he's out there, but I can't tell sometimes. It's really hard because I think he goes out there sometimes playing at like 60%.
He does give that off a lot, man.
Yeah. Like he's like, I'm gonna play through the injury. It's like, should you? Or should you maybe just kind of shut it down?
I got 1.5 right now.
Okay, so it's gone down. So
it's gone down a little bit.
Yeah, so you knock off a point. Oh man. Well, Scotty, what do you think, man? What are you taking? I ask you first.
I think I'm gonna trust the 49ers a little bit more.
Okay.
I know that he doesn't have Ayuk right now. But I think
I forgot he's out too.
Yeah, but I think Ricky's gonna get improvement this year.
Yeah,
you know, I got a lot of trust in him right now.
Sure.
So I think I'm gonna rock with San Francisco on this one. I'll take that 1.5. I mean, if they win, that should be pretty free.
Sure.
I think I might go slightly under though on this one.
Okay. I'm going to take the Seahawks because, yeah, if McCaffrey's not playing, I think that does take a hit to them. Having Ayuk out, I think, is going to be a hit to them. I will say this. I think this maybe is like a breakout game for Ricky Pearsall. I think he could have a really nice emerging first game in this. I just look at the Seahawks, and I think Sam Darnold, I think, is stepping into an offense that's all similar to what he had in Minnesota. Yeah, he doesn't have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but he still has Cooper Kupp. I mean, that's something. And I think they're still efficient enough on the ground that they're capable of having a decent enough offense to be able to move the ball. So I'll say Seattle by 3. And I agree. I'll go with the under on that, too. I'll do that. This could be this for a first division game against each other. This is a good test, I think, for these two, right? Where's San Francisco at, with or without McCaffrey, and where's Seattle at against what could be the divisional leader at some point? Because we always assume Kyle Shanahan will figure it out. So.
My whole thing with this is the Sam Darnold move for me to Seattle is like Baker Mayfield moving to Tampa. And remember when Baker moved to Tampa, they got that first statement win in Minnesota on the road.
Right.
I don't think you're going to get that out of Sam Darnold.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Because I think Baker, like thinking back to that, they were both in like the same position. You know, they were moving on. They were getting a chance. You know, Sam Darnold's maybe a little bit more established because of the contract. Maybe not established as a player.
Right.
But they're both given a chance in a new place. I just don't think week 1 he'll be the difference maker that Baker was when he moved over. if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, no, that makes sense, and that I think that's a fair point to put out there. Is that it's a new head coach with a new offense and new scheme and new players, and it takes an adjusting to. I will say though, by his ability to adjust in Minnesota, I think that showed he has enough poise at this point in his career, at the pinnacle point too, right? The peak of his career, that if it doesn't, but he should at least look good enough. Like if they don't win, at least look like not more touchdowns than turnovers, higher than 60% completion rating, have over 250 passing yards.
True, but he's taking a really big step down from Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and T.J. Hawkinson,
right,
to JSN, a battered old Cooper Kupp,
right,
and Jake Bobo.
Right. No, I understand that. I understand, and you don't have Kevin O'Connell as your head coach either. You had a very creative play caller, offensive guy on that side. Now you're going to a defensive coach. So, but I will have faith. I will have faith in Sam Darnold until I don't. We'll see. You got one game to prove me wrong. Yeah, that's all he gets. All right, the last one. It's the big one. It's Baltimore. They're at Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 1.5. The over-under's at 50.5. Scotty, it's a hell of a way to kick off the NFL season, man. Who are you picking?
This is like what Texas and Ohio State wanted to be. This is going to be an absolute shootout.
Okay.
I'm going to take that over. Okay. I think you're looking at a game that's like, 34, 31, something like that.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to Buffalo on that. I think that they've, looking on the team from last year, I actually do think they've made a lot more improvements. I think what is really going under the radar is them bringing in Joey Bosa on defense. I think that's going to go really well for them because Von Miller, they had high hopes for him, but Von Miller was older.
Right. He was at the end of his career at that point.
You're bringing in yes, injured, but also kind of still in his athletic prime,
right.
Joey Bosa, on a cheap one-year deal. That's a bargain. I think there's a lot of upside in that, and there's low risk with what you're going to just get out of him. I think getting a lot of key pieces back on defense is really going to help them out. And I honestly, I think you're going to get a step up from the wide receiver core, like Keon Coleman. I think you're going to get a big step up from him. I've heard a lot of people say that he might even take over Shakir. I don't think he will just because they gave Shakir the contract. But I could see him outproducing him as a number 2. Sure. I just don't think he'll take over the number 1 spot just because they gave Shakir the money in the offseason. Mm-hmm. But for me, I always kind of just see the Ravens as a team that kind of starts slower at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Where, the defense maybe doesn't have everything figured out. I know they're returning a lot more people than they've brought in. But I'm going to give the slight edge to the Bills here.
Okay. All right. I like that. Man, this is tough.
It is such a tough game.
It is so I will take the over as well, obviously, in this. I'll take Buffalo. I'll take Buffalo by a field goal. And, yeah, I'll stick with that. I was like, because I was thinking, I'm like, this is a different Ravens team now. They I think, have finally found their footing and established themselves. Like, okay, here's the receiving core. Here's our running back. We got our quarterback. We've got our offensive line. Like, they have found guys to plug and play in there, and they've just added to their defense. I mean, that defense just continues to look nuttier and nuttier every time.
I think the game will be won in the secondary for the Bills and the wide receiver core for the Ravens because the Ravens are going to run the ball. I think they'll have no problem with that.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Can the corners of Buffalo that have been honestly the downfall of their team over the last couple of years take that step up? Why? Or can the wide receivers from Baltimore take that step up that we expect out of a guy like Zay Flowers?
Right. Well, and this is where, for me, this comes down to the battle of, what would this be, Teron Johnson probably against Rashad Bateman maybe? I mean, I know Teron Johnson's probably your best corner, so he's probably going to be locked on Zay Flowers. I just can't remember who the other corner is for Buffalo. Is it Benford? I think it is.
Yeah.
Benford, yeah. So it'd
Probably,
probably
be Bedford on Bateman.
yeah, so Benford, who they just paid Benford, and he's a good corner. He's shown his wherewithal to stay on that team and be a starter. Like, he did his job. So it would be, I think Bateman is your kind of X factor in the passing game, and Benford's kind of like you're going to have to lock him down kind of thing. So that's a battle I would look forward on. But you got two of the best quarterbacks who last year were battling it out for MVP. I think they're both going to have MVP caliber performances in this game. That's my assumption. If you told me right now both these quarterbacks had 200 yards passing and 100 yards rushing each with like 4 total touchdowns apiece, would that shock you? No, of course not. Because it's Josh Allen and it's Lamar Jackson. Like, that's how good these guys are.
By the way, I'm just going to mention this because I don't think we need to get too deep into the game, but
Yeah.
Ben Johnson in the last 2 years against Brian Flores has scored 16 touchdowns and only punted 14 times. So and he scored over 200 points on Brian Flores' defense. So the fact that the Bears are massive underdogs, it should, in my opinion, it should be a pick'em.
Yeah.
But, those are some good odds for you, man.
Yeah, real quick for the Bears, Minnesota, Monday Night Football. I'll take the Bears just because it's JJ going out there for the first time coming off an injury.
It should be a pick'em.
It should be a pick'em because that Vikings defense is still fierce. That offense, even with JJ at quarterback, is still fierce. I would just say that I think the Bears should have some sort of an advantage by the fact that their quarterback has at least a year of experience playing in the NFL, albeit with 3 different coaches, now having the singular guy to have worked with, more or less, if anything. If they don't win the game, the offense should look a whole lot better than it has in the past.
I want to read you a article from The Athletic posted this morning.
Not the whole article, right?
No.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah.
That's a big reason Ben Johnson's training camp practices this summer were so intense and physical. It's why on the night before the Bears hosted a joint practice with the Dolphins, Ben Johnson unveiled the team meeting with a clip from UFC 239 in 2019. At the opening of the bell and the welterweight main event, Jorge Masvidal ambushed Ben Askren with a flying knee to the jaw, scoring a 5-second knockout that was swift and as was devastating. The Bears players watched and understood Ben Johnson's intent and were equally energized to arrive at Hallis Hall the next morning with the same footage looping on TVs across the facility. Kevin Byard went on to say Ben was trying to rile the guys up, no question. That message was clear, and that's the kind of tone he wanted to set.
There's your hits principle, ladies and gentlemen. There's your hits principle. I love that.
I love that.
I love that.
That's a vibe.
That's one of my favorite clips in UFC history, is watching Cornbread just leaping into the air and knocking out Ben Askren.
I mean, I love Jorge Masvidal. That was, at a time, one of my favorite fighter in the UFC.
He was, the man was insane, but he was great as a fighter. And shout out Ben Askren, by the way, too. He's jogging.
Yeah, shout out Ben Askren.
After his transplant, he looks like he's putting on more weight. He's getting jogging now. Just want to give him the shout out since we're mentioning him in a very horrible moment for his career, unfortunately. Kind of a career ender, unfortunately, for him, in the sense of like it just took a nosedive. So I want to make sure we give him a little bit of love for all he's going through as well. But I love that. If that's the way your coach is, then that sets the tone for what this Bears team should be. I love that. Again, there's your hits principle. What a stupid thing.
That's a vibe.
Not Ben Johnson's. I'm talking about Matt Eberflus. Well, it's hits. What are you, in 4th grade? Get over yourself.
Dare.
Yeah, right, yeah, essentially, yeah.
Matt Eberflus gave the dare speech every game.
Lovie Smith 2.0 over here. Dummy.
And Johnson's like, look at this violence.
I mean, you see how he knocked him out? That's what I want. I want you to fly a kneecap right into them. Whoa, dude, like we didn't They're taking the kneecap thing real serious over there in Detroit. My God. Yeah. Who would have thought? Your coach opens with that? Yeah, everybody. Apparently, Ben Johnson was like, yeah, kneecaps. Like, okay, man, chill. We get it. I love it. If that's the energy they're bringing. Over the head, damn it! Yeah. If that's the energy they're bringing, that's energy that's probably not been in that building probably since the 80s, which you can argue maybe isn't necessary, but in some case, you kind of need to bring the juice. You kind of need to bring a bit of the woo, and this is your chance. Woo, baby. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Monday night. I'm excited for this week. College football, NFL, it's back. Again, I know you guys had questions. We were going to answer them. Believe me, I got some of your emails just now about what's going on with the Clippers. I know. Relax. We'll talk about that next week.
They are screwed.
Ballmer may have a lot of big old money in his pocket, but I don't know if he's got enough to save him in this one, quite frankly.
He's got enough to pay Kawhi Leonard $28 million for trees. Yo, I didn't know Kawhi Leonard was Bob Ross 2.0.
What trees? There were no trees. They were all fake trees.
Well, to be fair, Bob Ross was painting them, so they are fake trees.
Yes, but at least they brought some sort of symbolism and beauty, and you could see them. There's literally no sight of these trees anywhere. I'm sorry. I'm choking up here. We'll get into that next week because I know you guys were asking about it. But that's going to do it for this. Obviously, what are your picks for the Pick 6? Other games that we didn't mention. I know there was a couple on there that I wanted to get to that we could easily have gone through. Let us know, ladies and gentlemen. Comment down below. We want to hear from you guys. And that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys so much for this. I know it was a long one. I know, but I appreciate it. I know we had a lot to get to. I don't know how we're going to do this in a condensed version every week, but I'm going to try. And I'm sure Sky's going to be like, I got to go. But we'll figure it out. I promise you I'll be good with time. I'll try.
Maybe.
We'll see. Who knows? But, folks, as always, you can always follow myself. I am at The Fluffy Guru on Twitter if you guys want to hit me up there, as always. If you want to follow me anymore, too, I'm also at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram. I don't know why my brain was just like, I'm on a loop. You're on a loop. And it's like, okay. So follow me there on my social medias. If you guys want to follow the show, of course, anymore, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, get the notification when we go live. Again, Fridays only for right now on YouTube and Twitch. That's YouTube and twitch.tv and youtube.com/xbombsports and twitch.tv/xbombsports. My brain's doing it again. Social media as well, at xbombsports. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. You can find us all there. Frankie, if you can hear us, please let us know that you're okay so I can get the clips, or at least know that you're okay so I can also pay you for getting us the clips as well, amigo. So be on the lookout for that as well on the social media. And again, questions, comments, things like that, again, send them to xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. We appreciate you guys, as always, for sending that stuff in. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to do it for the show. That's going to do it for our week. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. We love you. We appreciate you. You guys are the most wonderful fans in the world. Happy to be back. Happy to be back into the swing of things. And we will see you guys on the next one. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.